Welcome guys, we are going to look at how to write a semi-formal letter. Now before we look into that, I have a B2 level vocabulary where we are going to look at the 5 advanced words with their examples. Now we have the first word. So this word is read as reckon. Reckon. So to reckon simply means to think or to believe. So for example, we can say, I reckon it's gonna rain soon. So I believe or I think it's gonna rain soon. So to reckon simply means to think or to believe. Then we have the second one. So the second one, we have the core. So we are going to look at core as an adjective, then number 2 core as a noun. So as an adjective, it simply means the central or key part of something. For example, my dad reading me a story before bed is one of my core childhood memories. So it's something that has been created in my life. It's something that I can't forget. So that's the core. It's the central or the key part of something. Now let's look at core as a noun. So in terms of the noun, we are told the central or most important part of something. So there is no big difference between the adjective and the noun part of the core. So for example, the core of the problem lies in the lack of communication. So the center where the problem is where the communication is affected. So let's move on to number 3. So number 3, we have deliberate as an adjective. So as an adjective, it means intentional or planned. Doing something that you know that what you are doing is wrong, or you did it like intentional. It was intentional. You knew what you was doing. So for example, we have the teacher made a deliberate mistake to check if the students were still paying attention. So it's where you make a deliberate, like you make a mistake, you make a mistake that you know that it's a mistake, but you want to see if people are following, and if they are following, they will be able to correct you. So that's a deliberate in terms of that. Then let's look at the deliberate in terms of a verb. So as a verb, we are told to think carefully about something. For example, the judges deliberated for hours before reaching their final decision. So it means that they had to think like for many hours. So they had to make sure that the decision they were making must be in line with the rules or the laws of their qualification. So we now move on to number 4. So for the fourth one, we have elsewhere. So elsewhere means in or to another place. For example, the restaurant if is fully booked, we will have to go elsewhere. We will have to go to another place. Right, so now the fifth one, which is the last one, is grab. So grab as a verb, it means to take hold of something quickly. For example, someone just grabbed my bag and ran off. Then grab can also be used as a casual expression, meaning to get something to eat or to drink, like let us grab a drink. Okay, let us grab maybe chips and chicken. So these are the 5 advanced words that I wanted to share with you. Right now, let's move on to semi-formal letter. So we looked at how to write an informal letter. Now the semi-formal letter is the type of a letter that we write to people not of our age or of our class. So for example, if you are told maybe to write a letter to someone older than you, for example your father, it can be your mother, it can be your uncle, it can be your pastor, it can be your teacher can be head teacher, senior teacher, anyone. So as long as the letter is headed to someone older than us, and remember, these people must be the people that we know. So we can't write a letter like this one to someone that we don't know. So the other thing that we are supposed to know under the semi-formal letter, we can say it's neutral. So what do you mean by neutral? It simply means that it should be neither informal. So the language should not be informal nor formal. So you just have to make sure that when you're writing a letter like this one, you just have to balance it. So it shouldn't be informal, or it also shouldn't be that formal. So you just have to choose a language that will suit the person that you are writing to. Right, so let's say we have an example like write a letter to your former head teacher suggesting how results in maths and science could be improved in the school. So we are told to write a letter to the head teacher suggesting how results in maths and science could be improved. So let's first begin by writing the format. Right, so now let's begin. We have to first begin by writing the sender's address. So the sender's address is the address of the person sending the letter. For example, if this question comes on your exam, you have to act as the sender, so you need to come up with your address. So in case you don't maybe remember your personal address, you can just use the address of your school. For example, let's say you are coming from Milemu Secondary School. So you write Milemu Secondary School. So after the word school, the punctuation mark that you are supposed to write here is the comma. So to separate the school from the PO box, you need to write a comma. Then after that, I'm going to write my PO box. So let's say you are in an exam and you forget the actual box. So what are you supposed to do? You can just come up with numbers. So the point here is the format. We are not interested if you have written the correct numbers or wrong numbers if you are writing an exam. So here you can just say you write maybe 5204. Then after you are done, you need also to put another comma. So the informal letter and the semi-formal letter are just written in the same way. You just have to write the sender's address. Then after that, where is the Milemu Secondary School is. So this school is found in Ndora, so you put Ndora. Then after I'm done writing this, I need to put the full stop. So the full stop indicates that my address is done. Then after that, we need to skip one line. We are going to look at now how to write the date or what comes after the address. So after the address, you are supposed to write the date. Now if you're writing the exams, so you can just write the same date that you are writing your exams. So for example, you can just say 21st, let's say October. So after October, you put a comma. So remember to put a comma to separate the month from the year. You put a comma. Then this is 2024. So as soon as you are done writing the year, you need to put a full stop here. So now after this is done, what are we supposed to do? You skip another line. Then you need to write what we call salutation. So salutation is written here. So you say dear. If you want, you can say dear Mr. Mr. You mention the sir, the name of the sir. Or if you want, we can just say dear sir, then comma. So this is the sender's address, then the date, the salutation. So do not add the receiver's address because the person that we are writing to is known. Then after that, what are we supposed to do? We need to start with the introduction. So under introduction, we can start by saying, I'm going to use the open paragraph method. So I can start by saying, I was very glad to receive. So we assume that this teacher or head teacher sent you a letter where he's asking you to now give suggestions on how the mathematics and science results could be improved. So I was very glad to receive your letter. I was equally glad that you asked me to give suggestions on how mathematics and science results could be improved at. So you mentioned the school where the head teacher is or where the head teacher was. So we can just say at Milemu Secondary School. So this is my introduction, then full stop. So I'm not saying that when a question comes, then you need to introduce like this. No, there are so many ways in which you can come up with an introduction, but the point is make sure that your introduction is a one paragraph. Then apart from that, it should be short. And the introduction is a very important part of the composition because it acts as a hook. It is something that would attract the reader's attention. Now, after we are done introduction, then what are we supposed to look at? Now, under the main body, you can write as many paragraphs as you can, as long as you are able to remember the number of words. And according to the standard English of Zambia, we write up to, with the range between 250 to 350 words. So as long as you are within the range, then your composition is still okay. So now after the introduction is done, I'm going to give you this one as a simple task that you can just ask you can finish. You can write your main body. So from the main body now, this is where you're now going to write the suggestions. So what suggestions do you think can be done at a certain school for mathematics and science results to be improved? So if let's say science, maybe you can talk of we need good laboratories. Apart from that, we need the materials that we use during practical science. We need more practical lessons. We need qualified and serious teachers. For mathematics, maybe you don't have the materials that you can be using to, or that the school can be using to learn mathematics. So you can come up with your suggestions, then complete this simple question. Then when you are done, when coming up with now the conclusion. So the conclusion is where you need just to say something good about that head teacher. Like you can say something like, I need to, or I would like to hear from you. Or we can say, I hope you will find my suggestions helpful. Then after that is done, we can use yours faithfully is allowed, or yours sincerely. Then after that, what are we supposed to do? You come up with your names in full. Then after that, you have to sign. So you need to write a signature, then names in full. So this is how we can come up with a simple semi-formal letter. So remember, a semi-formal letter is a letter that we write to people that we know but not of our age. So this can be our parents, our relatives, can be our teachers, pastors, whosoever the question is asking you to write the letter to. Then its format is almost the same as the format of the informal letter. The only difference is this one is at least formal than the informal letter. So the language should make sure that the letter is going to someone older than you. So if you find this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up, and if it's your first time watching my channel, please subscribe, share with friends, invite as many friends as you can, and also for online tuitions, feel free to inbox. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.